Good morning, everybody. It is 6:30 and I'm making my second cup of coffee. I've been up working on emails for my work from home job since about 5, and now I've caught up, so until they start coming in I have a little bit of time to myself, and my daughter's not awake yet, although that could change at any second. So I'm making a coffee, and I just ground my freshly roasted coffee beans. We roasted these probably a week ago, and this is the last of it, so I need to roast more coffee today. And then I'm going to grate some cinnamon and nutmeg into my coffee. So now I'm just waiting for it to finish steeping. This is a Bodum coffee maker with a glass sort of vessel, and on top you place your filter. It is a reusable metal filter, which is great. And you just kind of swirl your hot water over the coffee and let it kind of do its thing. I try to let it bloom for a second first before I agitate it at all, so at this point I could grab a chopstick and kind of swirl the grounds around to finish out the liquid that's in there. But yeah, so now I have a nice pot of coffee all to myself. Nice hot cup of coffee to look forward to. And if you haven't tried freshly grated spices in your coffee, I can't recommend it more. Some cloves would have also been nice, but they're so small I didn't feel like getting out the mortar and pestle. But there we go. I made a batch of pumpkin spice syrup recently, and I could use a new batch, so I'm going to use up some of this today. Now this one came out a little bit sweeter than I normally like, so I don't need much. This is a very simple recipe of just fresh pumpkin or canned pumpkin puree, sugar, water, and spices, and you just let it cook until it reduces, essentially. And then I'm going to add a little bit of oat milk. And now this has finished draining through, essentially. And there's my coffee. I sprinkled a little bit of ginger powder on the top, so this should be a particularly potent cup. At least that is the goal. I love my new pumpkin mug that I found yesterday. Oh no, I see a tiny hair on the cat spoon. That's very aesthetic. Okay, I just tried the coffee, and that is so good. The extra touch of ginger really made it. Okay, I have to give you one more little shot of the coffee, because look at the way that the plant is casting a reflection in the coffee. How pretty is that? It's this guy. One of my favorite plants. It's a ZZ plant. Now, I'm not sure if people say ZZ plant, but I think it's just a ZZ plant, or depending on where you are, a ZZ plant. Actually, that's pretty funny. I might start calling her a ZZ plant. But yeah, the reflection is really lovely. Last night I actually stayed up a little bit later than I ever do to get in a few rows on my brioche cardigan because I did not get to knit at all yesterday, and I'm really hoping to have this done by Rhinebeck. So since today is October 2nd, I believe we're driving out on the 18th. It's a Wednesday. So I have a little over 2 weeks to get it done. And I would say this is about 2.5 days of work. I'm only a few rows away from finishing the back yoke. So I'm hopeful that I will get this done. Okay, I'm very excited. I feel like I'm making progress. I just finished the back yoke and it's on scrap yarn as instructed. So I need to look ahead at the pattern. I think now I'll be picking up, so this band up here at the top, this the start of the collar, this is double knitting. And so each end is actually on scrap yarn. I should have probably mentioned that before, since you might be wondering about the strange shape of this. So I think I will be picking up now one of these edges and then continuing on from there. I haven't done a construction quite like this before, so this will be new for me, but I'm looking forward to it. This has been such a fun project, and I think it looks soft, but you really have no idea. The combination of Pearl Soho linen quill, which is an alpaca and linen and wool yarn, is that correct? Or is it just wool and linen? I think there's alpaca in there, so it's very soft. And then combined with the silk mohair, it's just, and the brioche stitch. This is just so dreamy. So I'm very determined to get this done for Rhinebeck. Oh, I just love it. And for once, when I'm showing my knitting up close, all of these small white fibers are not pet hair. That's the linen. Okay, I'm going to read my instructions and see what to do next. I'm into a very small conundrum. I've just finished picking up my held double knitting stitches, and I had to read the pattern a couple of times to fully understand what it was I need to do next. And the detail I was overlooking is that I actually need another set of my 3mm needles, and they have to be circular, so I can't use DPNs, which I have at my house, which means I'll have to wait until tomorrow when I go to my shop and I have access to my other needles to continue on this. So that's kind of too bad, but at least I am familiar with what I'll do next. I have this ready to go, and I can work on my Rhinebeck cowl. It's 8 a.m. on the dot, and my daughter just woke up, which is usually our routine. Sometimes she wakes up a little bit earlier since I get up at 4:30, and I can usually soothe her back to sleep until about 8. But once the sunlight comes out, she is definitely a morning person, and she wants to join me, so I'm gonna go take care of her. Good morning. Preparing a white sweet potato for my baby. I put it in the, she's hungry, but it's still hot, so I stuck it in the freezer to cool down. But I put this in the little toaster oven to bake before she woke up. So it was ready for her when she got up and moved around a little bit first, and now she'll get some breakfast to the dog. So as a mama, I get whatever's left over from the baby's meal, and Fern, come here. Come here. Fern gets the pleasure of the sweet potato skins. And Bella gets some too. You want some sweet potato, Bella? Enjoy! She wants to do it herself. My breakfast is the leftover from the baked sweet potato that I made for my baby with avocado chunks, and then I have garlic powder, salt, chili flakes, tahini, and our homemade sriracha across the top. And in true baby fashion, Ara doesn't want so much the potato. Potatoes aren't her favorite food, but she is all about the avocado. Perhaps you can tell that I'm playing dress up a little bit since I'm working from home today, and I'm planning on doing a lot of baking and cooking, and I've been cleaning and trying to kind of get organized this morning. I thought I would wear a full-on just apron dress, something comfortable but still pretty. But you know, sometimes it's fun. And this particular, so I wear apron style dresses frequently out and about, but never something this like of this color palette or of this volume. So this is actually not it's a crossback apron, but it is a full circle skirt, so it has a zipper on the side. So it's a really full skirt, and then I have this dress on underneath, so it's very, I'll try to get some footage because you might appreciate it. And again, this isn't an outfit I would wear in public, but around the house for chores and baking, it's kind of nice. There's practicality in it, you know. I can see why this was like the wardrobe of choice for so many people for so long. So the only thing I would change about this particular outfit is this dress that I'm wearing underneath my apron. It's like stark white, so it's not my favorite. I think that it makes the overall look kind of like a sleeping gown, and maybe that's kind of what this was. I have been considering trying to dye it in coffee or tea, since most of it is going to be concealed by an apron or a pinafore anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Since it's going to be concealed by an apron anyway, I kind of think if I can't blah, 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 blah. If I can't dye it perfectly even, it'll be okay. So I might try maybe this week or next, I might try to over dye it. I think it'll be a more suitable garment for me if it's not so stark white. I'm gonna get you. Let's let Bella in. Hi, Bella. Come on. So I'm about to bake a loaf of bread. We're fortunate to have a bread machine. Now, obviously, handmade bread, there's something special about the dough when it's been kneaded by human hands. But the bread machine is amazing. It's so easy to just put the ingredients in and let it go and not have to attend to it myself. So we'll have bread for dinner, and we also have a ton of fresh Brussels sprouts, so I'll be roasting those tonight. We have so many butternut squash from our garden, so many. And I think they're pretty much cured at this point, so we can go ahead and start eating these. So I may consider doing some roasted butternut squash, or we could do a soup, but I can't decide. So when I do Brussels sprouts, a lot of times I like to make them crispy, and then I make ramen. So we make the ramen from scratch except for the noodles. We just use usually like organic buckwheat noodles or rice noodles, but I make the broth and everything myself, so I might do that. I'm thinking about it. I guess probably since I'm making bread, that rules that out. I should have thought of that before I even said it. So I will probably make roasted butternut squash or soup. We'll see. And I'm thinking about doing some baking
I really like, so on Monday and Sunday, these are the only 2 days that I'm at my house and can do these things. So I try to do them and then have everything available for a couple of days. So not necessarily meal prep, but just kind of making a lot at once and doing the baking on one of these days. So we have the baked goods for the week. So work has been pretty moderate so far today. So I've actually had enough time to kind of do things here and there between work. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. The first thing I'm going to do right now is get the bread baking.
I definitely believe in mise en place. I love to have all of my ingredients ready to go when I am baking or cooking. So I've got everything here. So I'm going to add my water. We always use, we have a crock full of purified water that we always drink from and cook with and make coffee with, everything. Okay, I've got olive oil. Need 2 teaspoons of salt. We just have pink Himalayan salt. And then 4 cups of flour. So in the bread machine you can do 3 different sizes of loaves, and I'm making the smallest size. So that's 4 cups of flour, and obviously that's not the most accurate method of measuring, but I have made this same recipe so many times. I know that that works. So now we need 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then just my yeast, so 2 teaspoons of yeast. So now I have the container back in the machine, which needs a cleaning, and I just have to make sure that it's the 1,000 gram setting, and in 3 hours and 5 minutes we'll have perfect bread. I just remembered that I have to roast coffee, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that done and just over with. Otherwise I'll forget until 8 p.m. and this is not something you can leave unattended, so let's get this done. The beans that I'm using today are from Mexico. We've had this once before. I think we've only roasted 1 batch. Each time I order, I get a 10-pound bag of green coffee beans, and I try to pick something new each time, although I have a couple of favorites that I do reorder, like Indonesian coffee. I love Indonesian coffee. Of course, I love Ethiopian Yirgacheffe, but that tends to be on the pricier side, so I usually get that when it's on sale. This is not a tutorial because we are no experts. We just roast for ourselves. Here are those pretty green coffee beans. And we tend to like a medium to dark roast, usually on the darker side. Every green bean is slightly different in color. These ones are a little bit on the blue side. I've got the beans ready to go. Put in the tray to collect the chaff. And then just adjust our settings. So we do the same program every time. And then I have to set a timer to let me know that in 13 minutes I'm going to have to come and press the start button. It's a safety feature so that the machine knows we haven't left this unattended. It's fairly noisy in here because I've got the coffee roaster and the bread machine going. When the bread machine is done kneading, it won't make noise anymore, but the coffee roaster. So you would think that freshly roasting coffee would smell amazing and be an incredible experience, and it is quite the opposite. So it's noisy. It does produce a lot of smoke, but thankfully this machine that we have, it traps a lot of that smoke so we don't get it in the house. Whereas before, when we used to roast coffee by hand in a pan or over a fire, it's so much smoke. It's unavoidable.
Also, the smell is very unpleasant. Of course, when it's actually finished roasting and you just have the beans smell great, but the roasting process does not smell nice. Excuse me. Guess I'll show you some of our plants that are hanging up. Look at our table project from yesterday in the morning light, and that's the sound of my daughter sucking on her shirt. Roasting is done, so now I'll just roast it one more time to get the second crack and actually get a dark roast. And the bread has actually started baking now. My goodness, does it smell delicious.
All I have to say is linen sheets. Oh my goodness. I've been meaning to get, or wanting to get my hands on 100% linen bedding, but it's quite pricey, and when I was out yesterday buying my pumpkin mugs, I actually found this for half off. So this was a really amazing price, and they are so soft. Coffee is done roasting. This is a perfect medium to dark roast. Fairly even. A couple of lighter beans, but mostly a dark roast. Coffee for the week is all done. Hi. So as you can see, I did end up changing my clothes. Something a little bit more like what I normally wear. While today started out in early 60s, is now in like the 80s. So my house was starting to warm up, and I was wearing long sleeves and 2 layers of lots of fabric. So there we go. But you know, I really enjoyed getting to do housework and, I don't know, just generally taking care of things this morning in that outfit. It was so comfortable and it wasn't restrictive. Yeah, so that was nice. My baby just laid down for her nap. It's always so hit and miss trying to get her to nap, especially when we're at the shop. But with us being at home today, it's noon right now, which is pretty routinely the sun just changed. It's pretty routinely her nap time. And so it's so nice for me, of course, because I've spent all morning playing with her but also working. I've got my laptop in front of me in case an email comes in. I mostly respond to a lot of emails. But hello. This is my cat. So anyway, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to... I thought maybe I would bake something today other than just the bread, but I think I'll actually wait because there's not really anything that sounds good for once. Like nothing I really care to make. I baked the bread. I think something like granola bars would be nice, but I don't really feel like that. I was planning on making something like pumpkin cookies, but we actually have a few cookies left that my husband baked for my knitting group on Saturday, which was really sweet. So I think I'm gonna call that done for now, and then I'll have to make dinner. I'll make dinner in a couple of hours, and so I think right now I'm actually going to knit. So I'm excited about that. Also, British Bake Off, the Great British Baking Show premiered yesterday. I've been waiting for it and waiting, so maybe I'll treat myself right now to watching episode 1 of the new season and knit while I watch it, although part of me thinks if I turn it on, maybe I will end up baking something. I don't know. We'll see how I feel in 2 minutes. Oh, I do have something exciting I'm waiting for today. I love when the exciting mail comes on Mondays when I'm here. That way I can enjoy it right away. But I have a pre-order yarn from Treehouse Knits that I have been waiting on to come today.
Sadly, it's not I ordered 2 separate packages of 2 different colorways, thinking maybe one would ship sooner than the other. And the one I was hoping would ship sooner, unfortunately, is not the one coming today. The one I'm wishing was coming is a single skein that I need to finish the collar of my rose cardigan. So that project is done, except for I'm missing that 1 skein of yarn. So hopefully that'll be on its way soon. And then I also got some mystery skeins. They were on sale, and I trust Treehouse Knits. They're dying. So yeah, can't wait to see. I actually requested pinks and browns. I've been really into the pinks and browns kind of romantic palettes recently. So we'll see.
Take outside, no going back.
Time and heat are now the baker's 2 biggest worries.
I chose to knit while I watched this episode during my daughter's nap. And of course, now I feel like baking something. I'm also having lunch. These are samosas with a mint and coriander chutney. What do I bake? Okay. I just want you guys to know that the first episode of the new season of the Great British Baking Show has made me cry. Wasn't expecting that, but if you watch it, the ending, it made me cry. Okay, I just finished another little chart on my Doodle cowl. I did the apple. I initially didn't dye this bright red color. I thought I was going to go with a more of kind of a muted palette, but then the apple, I decided I didn't want to do a yellow or a green apple, and I thought having this stark bright red somewhere in here would be really cute, and it makes me actually think a lot of, I'm holding the camera in a terrible way, it makes me think a lot of the Ruby Star Society fabrics. It was a collection they did a couple of years ago, or maybe it's one of the newer ones, but anyway, it has these bright colored apples, and that's what this makes me think of. So now I get to pick my next chart. We're starting to get pretty long. I'm going to guess this is probably either 20 inches or a little bit, maybe fewer. I'm going to go ahead and measure it. And I'm going to about 30 inches, so I'm a good bit done. Got home, so Ara is outside with him in the garden for a couple of minutes, and I thought I needed to come and take the bread out while this pan was still hot so it doesn't get soggy. Ara's excited that her daddy's home. Our beautiful loaf of bread. Sometimes these indentations are more noticeable than others. I think when you do the smaller loaf, there's a little bit more room in the pan for those ridges to sort of make a mark, but not that it matters. But it's so pretty. I can't be the only person who pats a fresh loaf of bread. There we go. It smells amazing, as you can imagine. So I've actually been, while my daughter was napping, after I finished the first episode of the Great British Baking Show, I've been editing today's video, so yeah. I'm trying to get a head start on that one so that this evening, whatever I manage to film, I can just sort of plug it in and have the rest of the video done, since I think today will be a little bit longer. So yeah, I'm so far so good. We're on day 3. It's October 2nd, but day 3 for me. And so far, I think I'm doing pretty okay. This hasn't felt overwhelming, but we're about to have a full day at the shop, Tuesday through Saturday, so we'll see how it goes. And if you're wondering, yes, this is a Buc-ee's sticker behind me. We can thank my husband for that. What are you doing? Jason just pulled these off of one of our plants, so that might be part of RS dinner tonight. Treehouse Knits yarn has arrived. These 3 are Sea of Venus, which, and it's on her Sierra Sport. These will be for my tessellated pullover that I'm going to make with hand spun. I love sport weight yarns so much. And then these are my 2 mystery packs. They're beautiful. They're not quite what I was expecting, but still gorgeous. They're all green, and I was hoping for pink and brown. I mean, I guess there's some brown in there, so that's nice, but overall they're green. I got 3 on sock and 4 on DK. So these should be, I should be able to do some kind of color work project with this. And this one could either be a fade or 3 pairs of socks or something. I love golden hour when the sunlight starts to come in. Hello. Just checking in one time before the evening. We've been busy the past few hours, so I haven't had a chance to say anything else. But I did get a little video of the dinner that my husband made for us. I was planning on making dinner, and then he's a really good cook, and I guess he felt inspired, so he went ahead and made a bunch of roasted like squash and root vegetables, rutabaga, and some delicious Brussels sprouts. He made glazed carrots. We had the bread that I made, and he did some sweet and spicy collard greens, but I was too full to eat those. So we had a really nice dinner. Our daughter really loved it too. She ate pretty much everything we put in front of her. So I have gotten just a tiny bit of knitting done today. Probably a good bit more tomorrow. It's almost 7, so hopefully my daughter will go to bed in about an hour, and then I'll have a little bit of time to myself. Yeah, so my plan for the rest of the evening is to finish editing. I'm mostly done, and hopefully do a little bit of knitting. I really feel like I haven't actually gotten any knitting done, and that's not good for me. But thanks for watching day 3 of Vlogtober. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 4. I hope you have a really nice week. Bye.